All right. Joined by one of my really good friends, a poor man's Brett Favre, Ryan Fitzpatrick. It's always a pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Game day is the perfect pizza day. So make Little Caesars the official pizza sponsor of the NFL, part of your game day. Order online during our Pizza pregame 1 hour before and 3 hours after NFL kickoffs, plus all day Sunday. To have your NFL game day covered, choose your favorite Little Caesars pizza or pick the toppings you crave. It's a pizza win. And speaking of winning, everyone scores with convenient delivery or our in-store pizza portal pickup. So grab some friends, order your Little Caesars, and enjoy during the games.
Thanks, Beau. What a great intro. I knew you were coming at me with something, but that one is well-deserved. Thanks.
Coming from a poor man's Kyle Williams, you know, it always means, really means something. But, dude, what's the deal, man? You don't fucking call, you don't write, you don't text. I haven't talked to you in a while. All I do is just get inundated with commercials from you on Sunday, man. Looks like you're having a lot of fun out there.
I'm really sorry. I'll do better, but I am, dude. I'm telling you, the commercial thing kind of came up out of nowhere, and it was like one led to another, and soon enough, like all my friends and family are just making fun of me for like not being able to get away from my face on TV. But I'm sure you've seen the Little Caesars one because again, one like can't get away from, but. I got to spend a day with Cam Jordan and George Kittle, just like, shooting the shit for 8 hours. And it was so much fun. And I knew that one was going to play well because those dudes are such like big personalities.
Right.
And I love pizza, especially Little Caesars pizza and Crazy Bread. So that was one they really had to twist my arm to sign up for, but we had a good time with that one.
Plenty of free pizza for you, dude. Send some of that shit my way. I was looking at that 4-quarter calzone. It looks like a lot of meat on that, buddy.
Dude, every time I see the 4-quarter calzone, I think about the Butter King. I think about how much me and you would be enjoying that thing, man. But if you haven't tried it yet, it's absolutely phenomenal. And what better day to do it than on a Sunday? Just being lazy, sitting there watching football all day.
I mean, that's all I've been doing now, man. I mean, you know how it is when you're retired. You think you've had enough of football, and then, YouTube TV comes out with the multi-view, and I'm watching 6 games at once. So always stoked to talk about football with you, Fitz. Can't wait, man.
We should talk about you can ask me some football questions. I wanted to talk a lot about fishing and how amazing you are. Okay, good.
What about Settlers of Catan, man? I was hoping to get into that a little bit too.
Yeah, I mean we've always had the argument of is it Catan or Catan, and I always called it Catan, and you're more of a purist, so you call it Catan. So I get it.
Yeah. Well, I played a game online with Klaus Tuber's son,
I know you
Tuber, and he called it Catan, and so that's the founder of the game. I feel like that's straight from the source, man.
Did you beat Klaus Tuber's son?
Yeah, well, I took it so seriously. Like everyone else was kind of chit chatting, playing, and I was robbing the fuck out of him, like just stealing him, using my Monopoly card. So
nice. You're a savage when it comes to Settlers.
Yeah, well, then after the game, like I felt kind of bad because I was just trying so hard, and then I realized that they were all just kind of there for a good time, and that's how it goes a little bit. But anyway, let's talk some football, Fitz. So I was thinking about you because I actually watched a little bit of the Toy Story Fun Day football. You know what I mean, where they did it in Andy's room with the Jags and the Falcons. I figured your kids might have gotten a kick out of that. How'd that one go over at the Fitz household?
Dude, it was awesome. So, we're in Arizona right now, so it came on at 6:30. So we didn't set the alarm clock to wake up for it. But that second half, we had 2 screens up. So we had the normal game going with the sound, which I was watching. And then the other screen, we just put up the Toy Story stuff because I wanted to see it. And it was amazing, like it could have been a great case study just to come to my house and watch because it was like my 16 and 14-year-old sons were like glued to the normal TV. But then once it hit 12-year-old Lucy, she's kind of going back and forth. And then the 10, 8, 6, and 4-year-old were glued to the Toy Story one. And I thought
Got
they did a good job.
NFL target demographic right there, man.
Well, it's just like bringing these kids and getting them interested in football, but the slinky dog first down chains, like they love that part of it. And even just the trivia and stuff incorporated in it, they love. And then of course we took our break to order some Little Caesars pizza.
Oh yeah, of course. You got to do it, man. It's good for the whole fam.
Yeah, which by the way, I know you're a pizza guy, and I know you're a Little Caesars guy. This is the one plug I'm going to make on this thing is if you order at any time on Sunday or an hour before on Thursday, hour before on Monday, you get signed up for some perks, including Super Bowl 58. And for me and you, I'm no longer going to be buying your Super Bowl tickets and flying you out, but we've had some good times at the Super Bowl.
Picking me up from the airport. What a guy.
Yeah, whatever you need, man.
That's how you know you got a real friend, when he's willing to pick you up at Super Bowl week at the airport. What an unbelievable guy you are, Fitz. But I'm willing to grease your wheels a little bit if you can help me out with this this Little Caesars pizza pregame promotion and get me some Super Bowl tickets. I'll bribe you. I'll babysit the kids for free. Whatever you need, man.
I'm gonna do my best. I've got some ins with Little Caesars, so we'll see. I don't think they're gonna let me do that, but the more pizza you eat, the better chance you have at getting it, I guess.
Oh, I'm in good shape then, man. Just bribe Mr. Caesar himself, Big Caesar.
Big Caesar, yeah. No, once
Caesar.
you get your hands on that 4-quarter calzone, I think you'll be all right. You'll be in.
Oh yeah, you need both hands for it. I've heard too. All right, so back to football talk. I was actually in New Orleans this weekend. Ryan Griffin, quarterback that we played with when I was in the Bucs with you, 2018, 2019. He big honor, got his enshrined in the Hall of Fame at Tulane. So we went to Tulane, and then coincidentally the Bucs played the Saints in New Orleans. And I was thinking back to when we were on the team for the Bucs together, and Fitzmagic was in full effect. Week 1, 2018, New Orleans, you had 75% completion rate, 417 yards, 4 TDs, 0 interceptions, 0 sacks, and a 156.2 rating. How about that? We'll blast from the pass for you.
And a rushing touchdown, Beau.
Don't
forget about that. But that was I'm glad you brought that. That's the only reason I came on the podcast, to make sure you brought that game
just to
up.
Gas you up a little bit.
That was, like the top 3 highlights of my career in terms of games. That was one of them. It was a fun game to be a part of, and to do it in New Orleans too. Tough place to play. Season opener. Crowd going crazy against Drew Brees. All of that was really cool. So.
Yeah, well, I thought Baker had a pretty good day too. 78% completion rate, 246 yards, 3 TDs, and a 116 passer rating. Not as good as you. I was just wondering what you've kind of seen out of Baker in his resurgence this season. He's bounced around to a lot of different teams, but he's playing really well for the Bucs so far. Yeah,
he's got that team playing great. I think, there weren't a whole lot of expectations put on him this year. Even in the offseason, it was pitted as a quarterback competition with him and Trask, and I think everybody knew that Baker was going to come out of that one ahead, but he's got him at 3-1. They're playing well. As you know, like Todd Bowles' aggressive defense, they're going to force turnovers. The supporting cast that Baker has, to have a couple guys on the outside that he can throw the ball up to, is really beneficial for him. So I think there are a lot of people that are surprised that they're 3-1 right now, but the NFC South, it's wide open. It's for the taking. And right now the Bucs have kind of put their stamp on it and said, okay, it's going to go through us this year. But I've been really impressed with him. He's now a guy, he had his shot in Cleveland and he played well there, got him to the playoffs, was a little up and down towards the end. We got to see him last year on Thursday Night Football, that crazy game when he was on the Rams and had been there for like 48 hours and led him back to a win against the Raiders. But he's a guy you root for because his teammates love him. He competes, and, now he's been to a few different places. There's been some adversity, but, I really enjoy watching him play.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking too, and I'm rooting for him too. I'm a fan of a scrappy quarterback, but it's, I only played for 3 different teams, but – I'm talking to a guy. Let's see if I can list them all off here, Fitz. We got the Rams, St. Louis Rams. We got the Bengals, the Bills, the Texans, the Jets, the Bucs with your boy BA, the Dolphins, and then the Washington football team. I think I might have missed one in there.
You missed the Titans. But
the Titans, that's right. I remember because I played against you on 3 different teams. But, someone like Baker who's bounced around to all these different teams, how hard is it to play well after, being in all these different teams with all these different, offensive coordinators, all these different head coaches, and now to kind of be in Tampa and play well? How tough is that?
Yeah, it's tough, but the thing, and I know Baker's this way, is in doing that and being in so many offenses, you really learn what you like and what you don't like. And so, he's a guy I'm sure that's not afraid to voice his opinion. And so, sure, there's always going to be stuff that you're going to try out. If a coach really thinks, a play's going to work, he puts it in, he wants you to try it out, great. But he's also developed, things that he's really good at, things that he enjoys, things that, he doesn't have all these scars built up on plays that, he's been hurt on. So that communication becomes so important. And the more times you bounce from team to team and coordinator to coordinator, that communication right away of like, hey, here's 10 things that I love. Let's make sure that we incorporate some of these. I'm willing to try some other stuff. And then, hey, here are 2 plays that I will not run. And if you call them, I promise you they will not be run. That's always something that's really important as you're kind of establishing lines of communication with a new coordinator and a new coach.
Yeah, you kind of get a broader view of, the game of football a little bit. Something that you are not really exposed to too much as a nose guard, Kind of just used to dealing with this shit right in front of you, you know what I mean, Fitz?
Yeah. You do have a great broad backside, though. That was always one of your best qualities.
Hey, honestly, just wait till I get some more Little Caesars in me. Okay, we'll get that back, baby. I love a good ass comment. All right, some other Sunday storylines I want to hit you with. I don't know if you watched Sunday Night Football, but I was watching last night. There was an awesome graphic of the Jets quarterbacks as bobbleheads. You made an appearance as the last Jets quarterback to start every game in the regular season. With Aaron Rodgers going down in week 1, did you get a call from the Jets about, maybe kind of coming back? And would you unretire for another stint in New York City?
So you know what? Before the whole Jared Goff thing, which now has become like the more recent question that people ask me when they see me, that was question number 1 for the last few weeks walking through the airport, going to these games and stuff is, hey, do you want to unretire and play for the Jets? Have they called you yet? Nathaniel Hackett is actually a great friend. I played for him in 2009 with the Bills. I am definitely retired, but the go-to line I started using was, I would love to go and play in a game and have a commercial break, and for me on DraftKings to be coming up doing this. But no, I'm very happily retired. It's been awesome, and I've had a lot of fun just being able to be there all the time for my kids, and probably too much around Liza. She's like ready to go do something else. But now that the Thursday night thing started back up again, she gets a nice like 2.5 day break from me. So
yeah, I'm sure that she needs it.
Yeah, you know how that goes.
Oh yeah, but real quick on the Jets. I mean, Zach Wilson played a much better game. He seemed a lot more comfortable out there. Last night for Sunday Night Football against the Chiefs. What kind of growth have you seen out of him? I mean, I feel like he looked a lot better last night compared to previous weeks.
And he did. He looked a lot better. Played more on time. Had some really good throws. Some of those back shoulder throws and man coverage stuff was really impressive to see. It's never really been the arm talent with him. It's all the other stuff. It's pocket awareness. It's running out of the back of the pocket, being able to play on time, stuff like that. But he's in a tough spot because this was viewed as a reset year for him. He was going to be able to sit back, learn from one of the best ever to play the game. Aaron obviously goes down in week 1, 4 plays in, and he gets thrown in. And he's faced so much criticism and gotten so much grief because this all of a sudden went from a Super Bowl contending team to will they make the playoffs? So you feel for him a little bit, and you're happy for a guy like that to go out there and play well. The problem is it was the Chiefs. They still lost the game. They're still going in the wrong direction. Right. And so at what point does this become a lost season? We're slowly creeping towards that as these losses continue to mount. But it was good to see him make some progress. And, I think he has a lot of fans now, people just rooting for him because of all the grief that he's received in the last few weeks.
Yeah, and I thought he did a good job, like showing some athleticism too. I think it was a 2-point play that he ran it in on and kind of scrambled around the pocket a little bit and got physical right towards the goal line. I'm not much of a Zach Wilson fan, but I've been kind of rooting for him now just because of all the adversity he's faced.
That's why I think a lot of people are like that. And what did you think about a scrambling quarterback when he's running around back there and you had to pass rush? Was that one of your favorite things as a D lineman?
Well, you know how much pass rushing I did on third down, Fitz. You know,
so just first and second down.
Yeah. No, well, actually, I think I've told you this before, but you were my first sack, I think, in the NFL when you were in Houston. Must have been maybe 2014. I'll have to look that up. But
I 2014. I enjoyed every second of that one, Beau.
Yeah, me too. I split that one with Brandon Bear, but so I do like a scrambling quarterback, but sometimes like when they extend those plays, like 6-7 seconds, it's just exhausting. You never know where they're going to be in the pocket. Is it going to be the Russell Wilson back shoulder, or sorry, the rollout from the backside, or like where are these guys going to be? I never.
And you were always a high effort guy, so you had to go after him, even if you knew like he's 30 yards away and you weren't going to get him. Like
you got to put that effort on tape, baby. That's all I got, man. I know you're deeply familiar. You mentioned your time with the Bills earlier. I thought that was a great game. The Bills, the Dolphins. You played for both teams. Fun game to watch. Josh Allen and the Bills' offense was fucking rolling. What do you think? What do you think the Bills' defense did well to disrupt Tua? Because this was a week after they scored 70 points against the Broncos.
And it was awesome. I mean, they score 70 points. They look unstoppable. All their weapons. Tua. The amazing thing about him when you watch him play is that ball comes out so quick. But it's still like down the field. It's not check down. The ball is coming out, but they're putting it down the field. They put so much pressure on teams. And in that Denver game, just running the football. Oh my goodness. I mean, it was unstoppable. And I think, as we saw as Chicago was lighting up the scoreboard with Denver, you start thinking about maybe some of the issues that Denver defense is having right now. Yep. But it's fun to watch, man. Tua's playing great ball. And, going into this game, my kids were always asking me, okay, Dad, fantasy this week, or, we're in a survivor pool. Who's going to win, the Bills or the Dolphins? And, that was one I think everybody was kind of unsure of. Even Bills fans were thinking, gosh, this Miami team has been playing great. Can we stop them? And the Bills just reminded everybody that they're the best team in the division, and the AFC East is going to go through them. So that was a nice reminder there, because it wasn't a close game. I mean, they played really well. Josh, after week one of everybody saying, okay, who is this guy? We've seen the real Josh Allen the last 3 weeks. I mean, he's playing out of his mind right now. I think we put to bed the Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen beef. Like, they're two great competitors, and they have a lot of experience together. So it's fun to watch them, fun to see Diggs get in the end zone 3 times.
Yeah, he played really well.
Dude, he played great. But both those teams are going to be in it towards the end. I think just the way that they can put up points. Miami's defense is just going to get better with Vic Fangio. They're going to get better when Ramsey comes back. So I'm excited to watch both of them.
Probably a matchup we might see again. I mean, I did have a specific question. Like I said, dude, I'm a nose guard. Very different view than, what a quarterback, especially one who's been on so many different teams as you, so many different schemes. I want to talk about the Dolphins' use of, motion and how tough that is on a defense, especially with burners like Tyreek Hill. And then, they get these running starts. Like, this is the fastest guy in the NFL, and he gets these running starts and just takes off. So how do these motions, help out a quarterback? I mean, obviously you get man zone indicators and things like that, but it also puts defenders in a bind just athletically as well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's almost like the game has already changed in the last 2 years since I've been out, but that started becoming really popular with all the McVays, the Shanahans, and obviously now with Mike McDaniel. And it used to just be, New England kind of and Peyton and Indy, those indicators of man versus zone, and being able to figure out, in 2x2 and 3x1 what teams were doing. It's now just creates chaos, man. It creates chaos on the defensive side of the ball. All these tight splits, and being able to run those stretch plays, being able to, put so much fear in these guys, being able to go inside or outside with the condensed splits on the routes. It's tough to defend. I talk about this with Richard Sherman all the time. Yeah. Just as a defense, how much pressure it puts on you. And all of a sudden you're trying to make these checks, but Tyreek's going so fast from one side to the other. And then more importantly, for a guy like Tyreek, you can't jam him. The one thing would be, okay, if he's stagnant and sitting on the line, let's get some hands on him, slow him down, make him
Right.
fight through us. You never get that opportunity with him because he's
Yeah.
always running and moving and in motion. And, I just think that offense to his skill set where he's so accurate, especially in between the numbers and near those hashes even, he delivers such a great football. So that's where they're killing people and attacking them in the passing game and then just stretching them sideline to
Yeah.
sideline in the run
It
game.
feels like they have so much space in the run game too. It's fun to watch. And it makes it easier on the quarterback. So real quick before we move on from talking about the Dolphins, 2 weeks ago, they scored 70 points. Would you have kicked that field goal to set the record?
I probably would have kicked the field goal just to say we needed some work with our field goal unit. Just knowing that 73 was within reach, but I don't know that anybody would have been too upset about it.
Yeah. All right. I want to talk a little bit about the NFC East a little bit. Just hit the AFC East, NFC East. Eagles, my former team. They kind of won in overtime against the Commanders, but a nice drive at the end of the game from Sam Howell. He looked pretty solid against the Eagles after a somewhat rough game against the Bills, but Ron Rivera did not, elect to go for two after kind of a big momentum swing and tying that game up at the end of the game. I don't know. What'd you think about that one, Fitz?
Riverboat Ron. I mean, he fooled me.
Yeah.
I thought the right decision would have been to go for two. I mean, those are plays you've got in your back pocket that you're practicing all the time. Eric Bieniemy coming from Kansas City, where they're kind of the master of those plays. They had to have a couple good ones, and to have a chance to beat the Eagles in that fashion, scoring with no time left on the clock, it was just set up.
You got to run the Philly special for a 2-point win.
There you go. There you go. You know that play very well. But it just seemed like the stage was set for them to go for it, to get the 2-point conversion and to knock off Philly. So I don't know. I would have gone for it in that situation, but I was surprised that Ron didn't go for it.
Yeah, I don't think you're the only one. I was kind of surprised on that one. But you got Thursday Night Football coming up with the Bears at the Commanders. How are you feeling about that matchup?
It was such a good matchup for us last year in the 12-7 affair that they're like, let's redo this game
Let's
here.
run it back.
Let's run it back. I think this year it makes for some interesting storylines. Like you said, Sam Howell with Eric Bieniemy, with all those guys on offense. And then you look at on paper the defensive line of the Commanders. Right now,
Jonathan Allen is sick.
Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne, it's unbelievable.
Boys.
Those dudes,
Two big
and
Bama
Sweat,
boys down in there.
And Chase Young still kind of gets a lot of the headlines, but he's the fourth most productive guy on that line. And it's not a knock on him. It's just this is how good this unit is.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're playing great. I just think the Commanders are one of those teams, going into it, it's going to be a dogfight. Like they can beat any team in the NFL. Their thing is going to be consistency and can they do it every week? And with Sam Howell, we saw it with the 4-interception game. And look, I'm no stranger to going like this and yo-yoing throughout my career. Like he's going to have to figure out and find that consistency. He's going to have to figure out and find, how do I get rid of the ball and stop taking so many dang sacks? Because those are going to start to add up a little bit and they kill drives. But the Commanders are tough, man. And then the other side is like the whole football world the last 2 weeks has been looking at the Chicago Bears and everything that's happening in and outside that organization, thinking, my goodness, what else could go wrong with this franchise? And to give up a 21-point lead to Denver was really hard to watch. The positives you pull out of that is like Justin Fields for 3 quarters had a game that we had been expecting all year long. So I'm hoping they can carry some of that momentum of how well they played on offense into this game. I don't think there's any chance it's going to be 12-7 again. I think we're going to see a high-scoring affair. But I do think there's some interesting storylines leading into this game on Thursday.
Yeah, and one of the Bears' big, trade acquisitions of this, season is going to be likely inactive and, Claypool. But what do you think? What do you think the Bears need to do for their passing game to adapt it to, fit Justin Fields better? He's been a little unhappy with the, the way he's been used.
Yeah, I mean, he's been unhappy. He said he's playing a little robotic. He's thinking too much, and the week after he had those comments, he didn't really back it up even though we were going to see the real Justin Fields, nothing. But then this week, 2 weeks after, he backs it up and he goes out there and he plays well. I don't know that was the best way for him to go about it. And I don't know if maybe he meant it as it came off, but he has a lot now to step up and do. I mean, that was him saying, look, it's not the way that I want it. From now on, I'm going to play the way I want to play. So it falls on him. I think it puts more pressure on him. And hopefully, he plays and continues to play like he did last week.
So talking a little bit about the Ravens win over the Browns, don't really know the extent of David Njoku's injury. He came out with a face mask on, and hopefully everything's all right with him. But, don't mean to make light of it, but it's a pretty sweet way to walk into the stadium pregame. Wow, how come we never saw any sweet outfits like that from you before games, man? Come on. It's just after games where we got the Fitzmagic with the chains and Deshaun's D-Jack's outfit. How come you never rocked that shit pregame, Fitz? What the hell?
Because I never knew how the game was going to turn out. It's always good to do that, like after you win, but you never want to feel like Joe Burrow has all these snazzy suits and cool things, but like when you're wearing one of those after like a big loss, like Njoku after they lose 28-3 and you have to walk back out of the tunnel like that to your car, like I never really knew how the games are going to turn out, so you
pack a normal pregame fit and then 2 options for postgame, basically.
Well, I just borrow stuff from my teammates that dress cool, so
yeah, exactly.
But nobody, I never wanted to go with the Beau Allen XXX, baggy T-shirt. I just didn't think it was the right look.
Hey, tall tees are coming back, Fitz. That's a good look for you. I'm like a 2X now, man. I cut out the Little Caesars. I'm down to like 280. So
hey, I don't want to make light. I don't know exactly what happened with Njoku with like the fire, and I don't want to make light of it. But I do want to say, like 4 days before that report came out, I had a similar experience in my backyard. I was lighting a griddle, and I had a flame come. I mean, I know you can't see it on your. I have no more hair on this arm. It went all the way up to the side of my face and it got my eyelashes. Oh, and I was so afraid. I started feeling this side of my face and I actually had to go get a beard trim because it took off like half of my beard on the side. And the worst part about that, like everything was safe, so I was good, but the smell, that burnt hair smell. Yeah. I couldn't get rid of it, like on my arm, whatever, but it was all right here. So I could not get rid of like that smell for 48 hours. It was so gross. But we're all good. We're in town.
You got the beard right. Fat Tony be proud.
Yeah, Fat Tony would be proud. But I go to Frandy now. I go to Frandy in Gilbert, AZ. So
so for our listeners at home, every Friday, Fitz and I would Fast Friday, you get out of the facility a little early. We're in Tampa. We'd head on over to, Wright's Deli, play some cards, eat some cupcakes. We play a lot of cribbage, and then we go get our hair cut at this barbershop from Fat Tony. And it was a great, I don't know how you found time to hang out with me every week having 7 kids, but it's probably the highlight of that 2018 season where we had one of the worst defensives I've ever played on. And, our D coordinator, Mike Smith, got fired like 4 games into the season. And all I had to look forward to every week, Fitz, was chopping it up with you and Fat Tony every
Ollie
Friday.
And Fat Tony and the boys. We had, that's been a good barbershop for us, though. Cam Brate has come in. Carl Nassib's come in with us. Jason
shout
Kelsey.
Out to Empire. Yep, Kels winner. Yeah. Shout out to Empire Barbershop over here in Tampa.
I miss that place, man. If I'm ever like sort of around the area, I'll plan out not cutting my hair so I can go in and get a trim from Ali.
Yeah, you gotta hit up the Thursday night crew and just fly him in every week wherever you're going. I think that's only right.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
All right, let's talk about this game really quick. I just want to hit the Ravens offense. Looks a little bit better. One question I had for you, though, it's apparently under Greg Roman, Lamar didn't have the ability to make audibles at the line of scrimmage. How hard would that be as a quarterback? I feel like it kind of handcuffs you a lot,
I think it does too, but I think there's also, there's a learning curve. There's growth that a quarterback has to show. Like you've got to be able to earn the right to do some of those things. Mm-hmm. And Lamar, when Todd came in to empower a quarterback, to give him that feeling that you have the confidence in him to make the right decision, I think is a huge one, because as a quarterback, you always want to reward your coach for putting things in your hands. And, the Ravens, the great thing about the Ravens right now is it's still a work in progress, that offense. Todd is still adjusting to Lamar, and Lamar's still got to adjust to some of the stuff that Todd really likes to do. But I'll tell you what, Zay Flowers, man, they have some dudes on that offense that can go and get it, that are quick, that are fast. He's got a bunch of weapons now, which in the past, that's always been something they haven't had. But that whole AFC North is funny because it all of a sudden, other than Cleveland, like it's no longer ground and pound. It's like aerial attacks. Yeah. Everybody in the AFC North. But the great thing about the Ravens right now is they have the ability to be patient with that offense a little bit because they've got a good defense, because they're going to continue to win games and not play perfect. But as Lamar gets more and more comfortable with this offense, I think they're going to be really dangerous at the end of the season.
You mentioned Todd Monken, who was the offensive coordinator during that Saints game in 2018 that I mentioned, where you had 417 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown.
There you go. But that was Todd's. That was the first time Todd had called an NFL game. Like that was the first time he was the OC and the play caller. So I signed a jersey for him and gave it to him after the game and said, "Nowhere to go but down from here, buddy."
Enjoy it while it lasts. Nowhere to go but down for you too after that one.
No, there's no doubt. There's no doubt.
All right. So speaking of the NFC North, obviously Joe Burrow, incredibly talented young quarterback. We all love him. He's played unbelievably well so far in this career, but he's kind of struggling this season. How much of that do you think can be attributed to, his lingering calf injury? When you can't move around the pocket and, be mobile like that really can affect the quarterback.
It's crazy. With him, he's a killer. Like when you watch him play, he's so accurate. He has so much confidence in himself and his own ability. You just keep thinking week after week, okay, it's going to turn around. Okay, Joe, you're not going to do this for another week. This Bengals offense is good. This Bengals team is good. They've got a great defense, but at some point we've got to fall back and say, okay, I think this is who they are. And it's just hard. T. Higgins goes out of the last game. Jamar's now a little upset. If anybody knows how to deal with Jamar and anybody knows how to deal with Joe, like those two are going to be fine. They've been at it for a long time with each other, but it's been hard to watch, man, because he's such a good football player. There's just so many question marks about why. Like, I guess that's my job as an analyst now. I have to figure out why, but I don't know. It's a huge enigma right now as to the struggles and what's going on.
You think maybe they just need one game to just kind of relax a little bit?
Right. It's like you just need one game, and we just keep waiting for that game. But we're 4 games into the season now, and we just see the same thing over and over again with the struggles they've had on offense.
Yeah. Well, I love Joe Burrow, and Jamar Chase is an unbelievable talent. And, it's interesting to see him air his frustrations out a little bit with his good friend and longtime teammate, Joe Burrow. It'd be interesting to watch that one unfold.
Yeah.
So, I got a lot of questions for you, Fitz. Never get enough time with you. I wish I could just – fly out here and we could hit up Wrights and go chop it up for 3-4 hours, play some cross cribbage like the good old days. But, now I just got to catch you on these Little Caesars commercials, man.
I hope you're enjoying them. I hope if our friendship gives you a few slices of pizza for free, then, I think we've made it work.
Yeah, that's if that's the best I can get from you, I'll take it, man. We'll have to go fishing here again soon too, because it has been a minute since that.
That was that was one of my favorite. People asked me, and because of this Little Caesars thing too, we're doing this bye-week promotion. We're essentially like buy pizza. You're still watching games on your bye weeks as a fan, so it's like you can still eat pizza. Like, let's think about Little Caesars and order some pizza, and that. Bye weeks, it was always family time for me, a chance to pull back. Like, I never got to go on any fun trips or anything, but going fishing, that was always something that was really fun to be able to do, just hopping on the boat during the bye week and getting away.
Oh, yeah.
But you're one of my favorite fishing pals, man. We had some good times for sure.
Hey, right back at you, brother. I'll never forget when Griff caught that cobia, and I was just sitting there like, hey, let me reel this one in. Let me get this one. Like, let me
at least get a picture let us take a picture with the cobia. Yeah.
Give it to me, Dad. Hey, keep your tip up. Keep your tip up, Griff. Come on. That was a fucking absolute gem, man. Well, hey, Fitz, I love you, man. I'm hoping we can catch up in person sometime. during the season, maybe eat some pizza, hang out with the kids, play some Catan, some exploding kittens or whatever. So
let's do it.
Miss
man.
you, brother.
Thanks, Beau. Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you.